I grew up in the foster care system, no parents, no money, no blueprint for any of this. By 22, I was working at one of the largest investment firms in the world, making decent money and somehow still $80,000 in debt, with no idea how I was going to get out of it. 10 years later, I hit $1 million net worth. Today, I'm going to walk through exactly how I did this, the actual decisions in the actual order that I made them. My name is Mark Russell. I spent 6 years at Vanguard as a licensed stockbroker and financial advisor. I've helped over 200,000 people start getting their finances together. I've been featured in Forbes, CNBC, Time Magazine. But before any of that, I was drowning. And there was one moment in 2017 where I sat down, I ran the numbers, and I just cried. What I did after that cry is the reason why I'm able to sit here and talk to you about $1 million net worth today. So let's get into it. I was placed into foster care the day that I was born because both of my parents were victims of drug abuse. So over the next 13 years, I was rotating through the Pennsylvania foster care system, bouncing from group homes to different families and back again. And by the time that you're about 11 or 12 in that system, you already have it in your head that you're probably going to age out at 18 and just fend for yourself. Luckily for me, I got adopted at 13 and I'm grateful for that every single day. My parents were incredible people, but they didn't invest. They didn't have a retirement portfolio or anything like that. What they told me is that you have to work hard for your money and you have to put food on the table for your future family. So that's what I learned. My mom set up a bank account and would say, put $5 in every single week. And I committed to that so much that I end up having more money in the bank than they actually did. But no, seriously, I thought it was a joke until I got older and they told me that was actually true. I committed to savings and I didn't have any bills, which really helped. To get through college, I cut hair in the dorms. I even sold plasma, which is crazy to even mention. I was handing out flyers on the street for small businesses. And honestly, if it paid, I probably did it. All the legal stuff, of course. That was my reality. That hustle got me to Penn State. I graduated in high school in the middle of the 2008 financial crisis, which is crazy because I got to watch Wall Street collapse in real time. And somehow through all that chaos, that led me to Vanguard. My adopted dad actually died right after my freshman year, but that's going to be a completely different YouTube video because I'll break down exactly what happened during that time and how it completely changed my life. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had no clue who Vanguard was when I got the offer. I called my mom and I said, Mom, I got an offer from this company by the name of Vanguard. And she goes, who's that? And I was like, I don't know, like a securities company, like Wall Street stuff. And she's like, security company, like ADT, like home security? Trust me, folks, this is where we were coming from. So my first job was actually in the Vanguard Leadership Development Program, where they only pick 20 people per year out of the entire country. And the other 19 people, they're all trust fund kids. They never had to worry about money a single day in their life. And these are like people who had serious money, like folks that had multiple homes. I remember a coworker mentioned that she lost a home in a hurricane, and I was really devastated for her. Then she went on to tell me that it was her third home. Like, I'd never heard of anyone having more than one home. We could barely afford our only home. Meanwhile, I'm making $55,000 a year. My parents made about $60,000 combined at the height of their career. So in my head, I'm thinking I made it. I'm rich. And a lot of people listening right now, you probably relate to that story. In fact, I was not rich. I had a car loan, credit card debt, student loan debt, all totaled $80,000 in debt. And I had no plan to pay any of it off. So I'm learning how to invest money for other people at work every single day and going home to a financial life that was a complete mess. And then one night I'm sitting at my desk and I started thinking about my dad. My dad worked in the factory his entire life, literally moving boxes for a living from one conveyor belt to another. 13, 14 hours a day, overtime every week. But one thing about my dad is that he always had a smile on his face. Everyone at that job absolutely loved him. And he did that until the day that he was gone. He passed away with a pile of debt, a not so great credit score, and nothing invested. Hardly nothing to show for those hours of work besides giving me the opportunity to go off to college and a home. And it wasn't his fault. He grew up in the segregated South. He didn't learn anything about finance growing up. His dad died when he was 18. And he had to go into the military to take care of his siblings and his mom. So I totally get it, but that's just the reality that I wanted to paint here. And sitting there at my desk, I realized something that really scared me. I was on the same exact path, the same debt, the same paycheck to paycheck, same avoidance. The only real difference between me and my dad at that moment was a fancier job title. And when I say I love that guy, I love that dude. Like, my dad was my best friend. He worked himself into the ground for his family, which I truly respect, and unfortunately left this world with nothing financially. And I was headed in the same exact direction, just in a button-down shirt instead of a factory uniform. That was the moment I knew something had to change. So it's 2017, the career is going well, finances are not, and I finally did the thing that I had been avoiding for years. I sat down and I started adding all of it up, almost 6 figures in debt. And I cried a little bit. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't, because when you look at the numbers like that, after years of not looking at it, it hits different. Martin Luther King had a line that I think about a lot. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. So here's the first step that I actually took, and I start here with every single student that I work with. I took a look at my total debt, looked at what I was paying every month, and I asked myself one question. If I keep doing exactly what I'm doing right now, how long will it take me to pay off this debt? And the answer was forever. Forever. Then what if I actually got serious and started throwing extra money at debt? Then what does the due date really look like? I landed on 5 years and I made myself a deal. And this deal is what I still tell people today. You can spend 5 years paying off your debt and truly lock in, or you can spend the rest of your life living paycheck to paycheck because you didn't dedicate those 5 years. Basically 5 years or a lifetime. Pick your hard. And I wanted to pick the hard that ended. I put myself on a budget, and I'll be honest, I screwed it up the first couple times because I was only accounting for my fixed bills. What I kept missing was everything else. The going out, the drinks, the clothes, the money that disappears from your account. And you have no idea where it all went. So I started zero-based budgeting. The whole idea is simple. Every single dollar needs a job. Because if your money doesn't have a destination before you spend it, it will find one on its own, and it will not be the destination that you wanted for your goals. I lowered my phone bill, I cut cable, I moved somewhere cheaper, took my dining budget from $700 a month down to $300 a month. That is $4,800 a year going straight to debt. And then the harder part came. Some of my family were used to me being the ATM. And I'm going to be completely real here because you guys need to hear this. And I'm going to say this with love because I understand where everyone comes from. When you're the first person in your family making decent money, people lean on you. I get it. And for a long time, I just let them. Because saying no felt like I was betraying where I came from. People who have made it out, the worst thing that you can ever hear is that you forgot where you came from. When I started saying no, oh my goodness, it was the worst thing in the world. People were hurt, a family member stopped calling, a friendship that I thought would last my whole life didn't survive it. I want to be real about that because most finance videos, they skip right past that part. Managing family dynamics when you're trying to get your finances together is like one of the hardest parts. Most finance videos tell you to cut expenses and say no to people like it's a simple thing to do, right? And it's really not. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever done. But here's what I found on the other side of this. The people who truly love you will come around. And protecting your financial future is not a betrayal of your family. It's honestly the most responsible thing that you could do for you and for them over the long term. So on my journey, I paid off my car first, then I cut up all my credit cards because I've realized that I've been using them as a crutch over the years. Then during COVID, during the lockdown with nowhere to go and nothing to spend money on, I threw everything at my student loan. The day I made my last payment, I just sat there. A kid from the foster care system who sold plasma to get through college, who worked his way into Vanguard, not knowing what Vanguard even was, who cried staring at $80,000 of debt, 100% debt-free, July 2020. The month after I made my last debt payment, I did something I've been telling other people to do for 6 years, but never really did myself. I started opening up accounts outside of the 401k that I already had. The first one I opened up was a Roth IRA. I remember sitting there and looking at the contribution amount. The money that I've been throwing at debt every single month, I was now able to send somewhere else. Just really think about it. Think about if you did not have to make debt payments, how much money can you invest every single month? And I'll be real with you. Every instinct I had was, what if something comes up? What if I need this money as I'm investing it? That was the real shift, not the $1 million number, not any milestone that came after that. That one contribution. So at that point, I was 30 and I had all this money to invest. It was beyond my wildest dreams. From there, I maxed out my 401k, which was easy to do because I didn't have any debt. And I put that money in the market and I left it alone. I didn't try to time the market. I did not panic when things dropped. And I stayed consistent. It is not one big move. It's not a secret strategy. It is consistent automated contributions month after month, year after year, letting compound do what it does. That is the whole thing. Ray Allen, after he retired from the NBA, and if you don't know who Ray Allen is, you have to look him up. One of the best shooters in the NBA of all time. He said in the Players Tribune that one thing that led to him being one of the best in the world, one of the best shooters in the world, are the same boring habits. The habits that most people don't want to do. It's the same way when it comes to investing. It is really boring, but what we want to focus on are the habits. The students of mine that grew their net worth by $150,000, $231,000 in just a few years didn't do anything exotic. We got them out of debt. They started investing consistently because I was on their case, making sure it happened. They stayed in the market even when it got scary. And they let time do the work. 10 years after sitting down and crying over my $80,000 of debt, $1 million net worth. I was at an event in Atlanta a couple years ago, and I had a booth for Better Wallet. And within the first 10 minutes of setting up, a woman came up to me and she said, Mark, when you paid off your debt back in 2020, that inspired me to pay mine off in the same year. For her, $32,000 of debt paid off. And she said, I just wanted to come up and say thank you. I can't even hold you. I got a little choked up. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't. Because you pour everything into trying to genuinely help people. She didn't just change her own life. She has a kid. She loves to travel. That $32,000 is now going towards a life that she actually wants to live. And one day her kid is going to grow up and have a household where money gets talked about a little bit differently. That right there is why it matters. Not the Forbes feature, not the $1 million number. That lady walking up to the booth in Atlanta just to say thank you. If you're watching this and you are in the middle of that mountain, the debt, the paycheck to paycheck cycle, and maybe too far behind to ever catch up, I need you to hear this. You are not too far behind. You just haven't taken the first step yet. A kid who grew up in the foster care system who was never supposed to have anything figured out was able to figure it out the hard way. I made every mistake possible and I still got here. The last thing my dad told me before he passed was that I need to take one step at a time. And if I had a tattoo, I'd probably have that right across my chest. That is what I'm asking you to do today. Not all of it, one step. Figure out your debt-free date. Give every single dollar a job. Start there. Just know that I'm proud of you for even watching this video so far. If I can go from the foster care system to $80,000 of debt to $1 million net worth with no head start, no family money, no blueprint, so can you. If you're not sure where to start, I put together a free investing checklist and investing class that walks you through the whole foundation. From budgeting, debt payoff order, which accounts to open, all of that. Completely free. The link is down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.